Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. Real Estate Coaching Radio is the nation's #1 daily radio show for realtors who demand authentic, real-time coaching. Get ready for fluff-free, unfiltered, full-strength honesty about what's truly working to get you into action, helping others, and making money now in today's real estate market. Now to our hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
3, 2, 1, and we're back. Julie, it is Thursday, November 12th.
Yes.
And we've got a fun show for everyone. Guys, I really appreciated all the really cool feedback we had on the series that we just finished on the podcast over the last few days. It's great to remind all of us, especially this time of year, especially after this year that we've all been sharing together, that really the potential that you have for the following year and really the potential you have even for today really does start with the thoughts that are in your head and the actions you're willing to take on the other side of those thoughts. And I really do, and there were some interesting conversations I had with regards to that. Just want to be very clear. Obviously, how you think and your mindset and all those things are important, but what really matters isn't what somebody says, it's what they do. And so that applies to how you approach the whole conversation about mindset. It is intoxicating oftentimes to get involved in the whole mindset movement and get involved in all the self-improvement stuff. And the stuff out there is very interesting and motivating and some of it's exciting. I mean, you can't listen to Tony Robbins and not get pumped up. But where the rubber meets the road is where you decide to take action. And if you really want long-term great positive mindset and long-term great upward momentum in your life and your personal life, your business, it really does. It comes back to the actions you take. So my fear, and what I've seen happen in the industry, are a lot of you guys will line up behind working on your mindset, and you'll be working on your mindset until the cows come home, and you'll never take enough action actually. So you're predicating in your mind that you have to have your mindset in some sort of optimal form before you're going to take the actions, and that's not the way to go about anything in life. If you want to learn how to be an Olympic swimmer, you don't study a bunch of books and watch a bunch of videos and go to a bunch of seminars. You jump in the pool, and hopefully you've got a good coach that's going to teach you how to swim. That makes sense, right? Isn't that practically how all of us think? But when it comes to the mindset space, and really a lot of the coaches and trainers out there, they don't want you to necessarily self-discover that your mindset naturally improves following your actions. They want you to be believing that you actually have to work on your mindset first, because if you self-discovered that your mindset improves with action, then you won't necessarily be that interested in buying whatever they have to sell. And I'm not meaning to sound like a skeptic, because like I said, Julie and I do put value on all the mindset stuff. But what I'm trying to hopefully have you understand is the mindset stuff, as far as educating yourself on that, means nothing if you're not actually taking actions. And the actions that you have to take in real estate, they're going to get you the most bang for the buck, come from simply doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. Not everything in your business has to be egregious or disagreeable or something you don't want to do. But isn't it interesting, the things that pay you the most money and get you in a position to help the most people are generally speaking the things you'd least like to do?
Yeah, so the mindset stuff, I look at it like this. It should not be a replacement of taking action, right? It by itself isn't enough action. It's an enhancement to the action that you're taking.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the interesting thing is that your mindset changes and improves as you take action, because you're adding information, you're adding skill, you're adding real world, things to work on, versus when you only work on your mindset, I find it's pretty speculative. You're guessing at a lot of stuff. And it can actually work against you, because your fear of success, your fear of failure, your fear of the unknown starts to manifest the more you're working on your mindset. And so that's not to take away from it. It's just to recognize it's not a replacement for actual work and action.
And if you study most successful people in the history of history, you'll see, even without them saying it like we just did, that that's how they actually lived their lives. They maybe spent a little bit of time planning and plotting, but at the end of the day, what they did is they just got into action, and then they figured things out along the way. Now, the question you have to then follow or ask yourself is what path to follow. Okay, so you're getting it. You maybe are at a point in your life where you don't want to be, motivated through mindset gurus anymore. You're wanting to actually start taking the right actions, and then you're just going to have to, move forward on things that maybe you've never wanted to do before. The whole thing. You're finally willing to do the real work of real estate and the real work of life. well, then you have to be incredibly careful what path you follow, because there's so many conflicting paths out there with regards to the different things that people are telling you that you're supposed to be doing in your real estate practice. So you're going to, and we talked about this over the past few weeks, especially. So be very, very tuned in to most of the things that you're attracted to are the things that are going to require the least skill and the least potential rejection. So I think the number one filter that you have to be looking for when you're considering doing anything for your business, in your personal life for that matter, is this thing being sold to you. Are they trying to convince you to think a certain way because it is being sold as easy, rejection free, or some sort of like it's some sort of anecdote to real work? And if that's how it's being sold to you, you have to see it for what it is. It's probably mostly a gimmick, because there's nothing worth having in life that doesn't come from long periods of doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. That's just the truth. And I know intuitively and practically speaking, all of you guys understand that. You just do. Think about anything in life that you've actually accomplished that was really something that you hold out as being dear to your heart, something truly special. And generally speaking, it was all the things that were on the other side of the most amount of really pain and discomfort. And if you will accept that that is how life actually is designed to work, then you'll be relieved, because then you'll see that there's very few other people that are willing to actually do the real work in life. And so your competition, when you start getting on the correct path, is actually less than when it's on the incorrect path. I heard some people talking on, Julie and I are presenting in EXP World at the convention today, actually. If you guys are in EXP, please do come to our breakout session that we're hosting. And I was listening to a lot of different panels and people talk, and it's fascinating to me how many people will tell agents to do Facebook advertising, for example, just any kind of digital marketing. And then they'll go in to explain how inefficient and expensive and overwrought the whole process is. I listened to this thing yesterday, and I thought it was fascinating, because the fascinating part was they were honest about how crappy internet leads are. That was the part that really stood out to me. So they were talking about the fact that you have to spend money on this, and you have to learn how to do this. And of course, Facebook is what they were talking about, changes the algorithms and the rules about every 90 days. So then you have to learn it all. Oh, and then, the leads that you get are generally speaking some of the worst quality leads that you're ever going to find. And then you have to nurture those leads and put them in drip campaigns. And the whole thing to me sounded a little bit insane. And why was all of that being said is because they probably have never been exposed or allowed themselves to be exposed to the fact that if you want to be essentially, accomplishing the real success in real estate, it's going to come from being a listing agent, number one, but also being a proactive lead generator. Doing that passive stuff is not proactive lead generation. And it goes back to the theory that Julie and I have, that more people are failing in real estate faster simply because of the fact that all this technology stuff is covering up the fact that the real work of real estate is where your success is going to be. And so as you enter into the new year, I want you to really, really be careful that you're not going to continue down a path that's going to lead you to more of the same or worse, because of the fact that you're looking to shortcut what's necessary in order for you to learn to be that Olympic swimmer, which is actually jumping in that cold pool and learning to do what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. Does all this make sense, Julie?
Absolutely, it does. It's all about taking action.
Now, before Julie gets to her first point, a quick reminder. We are ending the free coaching program on December 1st. So it is going to, we're no longer offering it. We started offering it because of the pandemic. But frankly, the pandemic is in the rear view for the most part, because we finally have several drug companies that are coming out with vaccines. Surprise, surprise. So as a result of that, and the fact that the real estate markets have certainly taken off again, we don't need to offer a free coaching program, so we're not gonna. So if those of you who are not in it and you want to be in it, please do text the word survival to 31996. Text the word survival to 31996. And when you do, we're going to text you back a link. Just click the link and activate your free membership. And that program does end December 1st.
That doesn't mean we don't have actual coaching. It just means that the free program is ending.
Right. This was just something we were doing for the real estate community, because so many agents back in March were desperate, not knowing what to do, freaking out. Right. Yeah. This was our way of helping you guys. And so now that, we're fortunately, I think 2021 is going to be a brilliant year in real estate, probably for the next 5 years. We need to set aside the lifesaver that we'd created for all you guys during the pandemic, and everyone needs to get back to work. So if you want to be in that free coaching program, text the word survival to 31996.
Yes. All right. So as Tim mentioned at the top of the podcast, we are in the final countdown of a very interesting year. I think you'll all agree, 2020. And you have realistically, all of you are a little bit different on this, but you can look at your calendar and take out some weekends and holidays and maybe some travel, and you'll find that by and large, you've either got somewhere between 20 and 30 actual work days. So that's some homework for you to start out with is come to terms with that. You got 20 to 30, some of you might have less than 20 work days left. So what's your number? And then you know where we're going with this. It's what you're going to do with those days.
Well, break that down for them though, Julie. I mean, go back from December all the way till today and show them how that's not really that many days.
Well, so I came up with about 22 when I was simply counting weekdays, and I took out a couple days for Thanksgiving, and I took out the week of Christmas, and a couple days, between Christmas and New Year's. But a lot of people take out way more time than that, and a lot of our coaching clients are way ahead, and they're taking almost the whole month off because they've already done their goals, their treasure map, they're ahead, they've got closings, they're taking a breath. So that's okay, but I want you to really be clear on what it means to you. So let's pretend it is finally what has taken, it seems a decade for 1 year to get to New Year's Eve, right? So let's just say it's New Year's Eve 2020. You're looking back at the year. Here's the question. What 3 things are you most proud of? So we'll start with a little bit of gratitude, okay? What 3 things are you most proud of? You can list things that are personal, that are business. I would recommend you look back at your treasure map. What did you say you were going to do at the beginning of the year? Maybe you did a treasure map 90 days ago. What did you accomplish from your goals in 5 areas of life? But what 3 things are you most proud of? I know it's been an insane, crazy, wackadoodle year, but you can come up with at least 3 things you're super proud of.
A lot of these guys had their best years ever.
Absolutely. And still are.
Yeah, still are. I mean, we're just seeing, I think there's going to be a lull for sure around the holidays because people are basting turkeys and wrapping presents and whatnot. But you're going to see an early start to the spring market next year, and I think the market's going to come back with more ferocity than we've ever seen.
Yeah, and I would contend we may not have that much of a breath during the holidays because here's an interesting fact.
I agree.
I've been interviewing coaching clients, and they're not hearing holiday objections, which by this time, most years, everybody would be like, I'm not going to do anything till after the holidays, right?
Right.
So I don't know. We might be powering through. I think there'll be a little hiccup here and there, of course, so people can celebrate. But I think there's a lot to be grateful for. So you start out with that. And then the next question is, what else will you accomplish in the next 20 to 30 days? But I want you to be definite. Questions to answer would be number of listings or new listings. Could be number of price reductions. Some of you do have inventory that's sitting. Maybe that's the question for you. So you can look at the listing number in a number of different ways. If you don't know what your magic number is, we refer to that in the treasure map. The number of listings you have to have at all times to meet or exceed your monthly goals of sales, right? So every listing is going to throw off some buyer sales, and certainly you'll sell the listing and you'll get more listings in the neighborhood, ideally. If you don't know, you can get that from the Real Estate Treasure Map.
Which, by the way, is included with the free coaching program. And the Real Estate Treasure Map is our fill-in-the-blank business plan. So it's essentially a comprehensive business and life plan. It's not just writing down goals, but you're also going to work through creating an actual action plan to accomplish said goals. So make sure you're completing the Real Estate Treasure Map. It's included with the free coaching program. And all you have to do is text the word survival to 31996.
That's right. So let's say that your magic number is 5 active listings at all times, and you're sitting there with 3. One of them you're not sure is going to sell or not. The other 2 for sure are going to sell. So probably your goal in the next 20 to 30 days should be to find your way to 5 active listings. Now, you would think that you've only got to find 2, but remember, you're going to sell stuff, right? And maybe one of them's not going to sell. So instead of looking at, well, I got 3, I only need 2, I would be focused on identifying, at least, pre-qualifying 5 new active listings. Now, maybe you don't list them and maybe they're not active until January 1st. Give people a break, get through the holidays, but at least be able to identify the listing. So that's a definite listing goal. Next question is, and I talk about this in Premier all the time, number of buyer sales. And I know this is a frustrating kind of, super low inventory market for many of you, but how many of you are sitting there with well-qualified, super motivated buyer clients who are not in contract simply because you haven't been creative enough to find them what they need to buy? This is a quintessential thing in coaching right now, okay? So I'll give you an example. One of our coaching clients has started watching the back on the market listings on the hot sheet, right? So she matches those to her frustrated buyers. She's the first one to call. A lot of agents blow off that category. Oh, I've already seen that, whatever. She calls the listing agent, what happened? First showing in there, it doesn't compete. So that's a creative strategy.
In the coaching program, not the free coaching program, in the coaching program, we give them a list. How many different sources of listing leads do we tell them about?
13 ways other than the MLS.
Right. So 13 ways other than the MLS to find inventory of homes for sale. And I'm reading your notes ahead of you, but one of the definite things I would be doing is if you've never learned how to be a proactive lead generator, this really is the best time of year to be doing it. Again, for all the reasons we're stating, because most of your competitors are not going to be working diligently. So you can go and you can, maybe the two basic things we always teach you to do are the FSBOs and the expireds, because FSBOs and expireds have one thing in common amongst both of them. They both have homes that are absolutely for sale. And I want you to be really, really clear. This should go off in your head like a bell, right? So you're about to hear a bell. Some of you spend so much time and money trying to figure out ways to generate leads, buyer leads primarily, where the reality of it is there are at least 13 different sources of seller leads that are available for free that do require skill for you to generate. But once you learn how to generate those seller leads, FSBOs and expireds are the great place to start, like I said. Those leads require you doing proactive lead generation, which does result in you speaking directly with someone you absolutely positively know has a house for sale. And yet, hundreds of thousands of agents rush towards doing things that are passive, and which often result in really generating, sometimes they spend lots of money, thousands of really unmotivated leads. They're not even leads. They're just names and email addresses or phone numbers. And then they put them in drip campaigns thinking that's how somehow magically over time, after 15 or 20, touches or contacts, those people are going to somehow magically raise their hand and say, yes, I want to buy or sell a house with you. But you have wasted so much time, money, and energy where you could have just learned how to be a proactive lead generator and called the seller directly.
We need massively less contact.
Yes, and your life is in your business, and how you think it's more pure, because it's not a function of where will my next paycheck come from. It's a function of basically I'm going to set a listing appointment a day. That's what we teach you to do in our coaching program. That is the essentially the bottom line goal of when you join our coaching program. We want you to teach you how to set a listing appointment and how to take a listing every single day. And that comes from following our system that we created. If you want to read more about it, it's in our book, Harris Rules, which is obviously a great stocking stuffer. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and everywhere else. And thank you for the 400 plus 5-star reviews on Amazon for our book. That's great. We love reading those. And also, if you're ready to take the next natural step forward, join our Premier Coaching Program. The free coaching program is there. It's just a lifesaver. It's maybe 1% of what the Premier Coaching Program is. But you want to join the Premier Coaching Program now to get a jump start on 2021. Stop looking for gimmicks. Stop looking for someone who says, I have a great idea. Stop looking for someone who's going to tell you how to use TikTok to how to generate leads. Generating leads is easy. What most agents will tell you is the number one problem they have and the number one thing they're interested in is lead generation. But is that really the issue? No, leads have no value. Pre-qualified, motivated seller leads have value. Why would you go and waste a bunch of time, money, and effort trying to generate those leads when you can just basically pick up the phone, go to your MLS, get lists of sellers that have to sell, and then call them directly, contact them directly? That's what we teach you how to do. Doesn't this just intuitively make sense? So the only reason you wouldn't want to listen to what I'm saying right now is because you don't know what to say or how to say it, and you have some mindset issues with regards to the sense of, occasional rejection you're going to feel. And these are all, reasons that you join the coaching program, and then we teach you how to be an Olympic swimmer. Get it? That's how this works. That's for those of you who are serious about your real estate business.
Yes, and just for those of you who are saying, I'm afraid of FSBOs and expireds, okay.
For example,
okay. So it's not just about that. Yes, that's absolutely included in the coaching program. It makes all kinds of sense that here are people with their hands raised. I have a house to sell. You sell houses for a living. It does make sense that you should talk to each other. I'm sure that you all agree with that. But I just want to point out that we also help them. Some of them get a little bit weird about talking to their past clients, how to have a conversation with somebody in your center of influence, how to actually talk about real estate. Some people are still secret agents. They're a little weird about that. We have a whole section in the Harris Rules book that's called How to Be a Real Estate Rock Star, even if you're an introvert. If you're somebody that's like, I'm just not a salesy type, right? So we help you with all of those things with coaching.
Well, let's really break this down to a very basic point,
Sure.
right? So I'm going to just pretend with you guys for a while that you live in a market where your average sale price is, say, $400,000, and every time a house sells, let's just say $10,000 ends up in your pocket. I'm not doing the math right, but let's just say that's the way it works. And let's say your goal next year is to earn $100,000. So you'd have to sell basically 10 houses with your average commission check being what I just described in order for you to make $100,000, right? So statistically, for you to sell 10 houses, and let's say you're going to do it through 5 listings and 5 buyers, right? I just broken it down for you how simple this can be. So how many listings do you need? 5. And from those listings, you're going to easily generate buyer leads. Never buy buyer leads, guys. You want buyer leads, take a listing. You have to beat the buyers off with a stick, especially in a market like this. That is, and most times your seller is going to be your next buyer.
That's
too.
True. It's baked in.
So what if your whole life, your number one priority every single day was to take 5 listings for the entire year? Now, what if you decided you're going to take your 5 listings by the end of March? By the end of first quarter? What if you're going to take your 5 listings by the end of February of 2021? Maybe you then decide, well, you know what? That wasn't so hard. Now I'm going to amp it up to 10. And now you've basically doubled your income. But it all starts on the listing side of the business. And yet, where are you guys gravitating to put your money and your energy? Building your brand, working on your website, working on your logo. Focus on taking 5 listings or whatever your real estate treasure map, your business plan calls for, and then put all your best energies towards learning how to do that. Because here's the thing that's always going to be true about real estate. Real estate in the industry, you want to be a listing agent because that's where you get your leverage. When you have leverage, that means you then can control how your schedule and your time works. But the best thing about being a listing agent is you have predictable, duplicatable income. When you're worked on doing things passively or buying leads or working with buyers for that matter, especially in a tight inventory market like what we're in, you cannot know for sure when you're going to get paid. But with listings and what we teach you how to do, you can create inventory for yourself every single day. And then when following our plan, you then will be able to predict with a high level of, certainty what your income is not just going to be this month, but provided you keep your inventory at a certain level every month for the rest of your real estate career. That is how this game works, guys, or how it should work, but people don't teach you that, except for Julie and I. So please remember what I'm telling you. And I know inside of every one of you, in your hearts, you know what we're saying is true. So how much easier would your life be if you knew for sure, not just because maybe you're going to luck out and a center of influence and past client person is going to list a house with you next year, but if you know for sure, proactively, every single day, you can take the actions required to generate listing leads. And then you know what to say, how to say it, how to pre-qualify them, how to send a pre-listing pack, how to go on a listing presentation, how to overcome objections, how to compete for the listing, all the things that we teach you. That's what you want in your business. So please be laser focused on the thing that's going to create the most benefit to you the quickest, which is being a listing agent.
That's right. And what I like about what you just did, Tim, is how specific you were. And that's the difference when we're talking about define what you want the rest of this year and define what you have to do for next year. It's not enough to just say, I want to earn that 100,000. You defined specifically and exactly how you can get to that 100,000 through being a listing agent and through your listings, creating buyer sides as well. So that's your homework, is to be introspective, get your real estate treasure map done, set some very specific goals for the next 20 to 30 days. And as you're doing that, your plan for next year is also going to start coming together. Back to you.
Okay. Well, so your homework from this, is to download and complete the real estate treasure map. And the easiest way for you to get that, and it is free, is just text the word survival to 31996. Text the word survival to 31996. And really what we're hoping that you will understand is that a lot of the stress that you guys feel in your business comes from the uncertainty of not having predictable income from predictable business, right? And that's going to be something that you can completely remove from your life if you learn to be a listing agent. And just to kind of drive this point home, if you had 5 listings at all times, in most markets, I know 4 of those listings would be in contract at all times, right? Yeah. I mean, in most markets, that's how it's going to work. But what if you made it so that your whole business now was waking up in the morning, following a schedule, doing, frankly, what we ask you to do in the coaching program, and every single day you make the desired number of contacts that you have to make, set the number of appointments you have to set that particular day, and if your number is and your goal is to keep build to 5 listings and stay at 5 listings at all times. So if you had 5 listings at all times, let's say on average 3 of them would sell per month, and your average commission check is $10,000, you're making $30,000 a month from having just taken essentially 5 listings. And then again, your life becomes about replacing those 3 listings every single month, which we teach you how to do. And it's just essentially every single day when you wake up, it's the same thing over and over again, but it's duplicatable. It's predictable. I did not mention, and nor you do not have to have anything fancy or expensive to follow our business plan. You do not have to have a team. You do not have to spend tons of money on any sort of, frankly, logos or any of this other stuff or branding. What you have to have is the discipline to wake up in the morning and do the actual real work of real estate. And then you're going to get the real benefit of having been in this business. And then you're going to quietly, methodically do the work. You're going to start producing more and more profits.
You're going to be happier. It actually becomes a lot more fun when you have the level of skill to predictably duplicate what you need every month.
If anything,
it's way more fun.
If anything, it becomes boring, really.
Yeah, it is a danger when we talk about the stages of mastery. When you get really good at it and it's repetitive boredom at some point, you have to make sure you don't, fall back and create problems for yourself. That's a different podcast.
I had someone who was working as part of a brokerage, Yoder Real Estate in Michigan. And their chief listing agent is a guy named Dan. And Dan has been, up until about a month ago, getting all of his listing leads from basically Yoder. In other words, he wasn't self-generating anything. And so he came to coaching, and I challenged him to cut all of the listing leads that he was getting from Yoder off and start generating his own leads, to which his credit he did. And so what he'd never really done, he'd done some phone work, but never really that much of it. So I started him with the most basic thing that gets you in front of a seller the quickest, which are expireds and for sale by owners. And I told him to choose, but he chose both, which is fine because we're working on both skill sets simultaneously. And then maybe it took him 2 weeks to start setting an appointment a day, but now he's setting a listing appointment a day. And so when he comes to our coaching calls, what I'm doing is I'm helping him. He writes down the objections that he heard that essentially resulted in him not creating that contact into an appointment, a pre-qualified listing appointment, and he writes them all down, and then we go through all of them, and then we practice them, and then we do it again, and we do it again, and do it again. And every single week that's passed, his skill set, his ability to set appointments has gotten to he's become highly effective. So last week, he made for the whole week, he only made 20 contacts. That was it. And Dan, if you're listening, I remembered all your numbers. Mm-hmm. So he only made 20 contacts. But from those 20 contacts, he set, I think it was 4 listing appointments, and he took 3. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. Those were not bot leads. And if I remember correctly, those were all for sale by owners in his market. And he is in an incredibly hot market, just like all of you guys are. So he learned what to say. He learned how to say it. He learned how to pre-qualify. He learned how to set the appointment. He learned how to take the listing in a competitive environment. He had no previous relationship with any of these sellers, no centers of influence, past client, nothing, no inroads.
And it didn't take him 200 contacts a day, right? Or touches or drips or emails. That's a really great ratio.
Right. Well, it's okay. I don't think it's great. I think he needs to get his ratio down.
Compared to what most of these guys that will do 100 just listed or just sold calls and say they made their contacts.
Right.
I like how this is a lot lower than that with a lot faster results, and he didn't have to buy any of it.
No, absolutely. But he should realistically, I think about Chuck Williamson, for example, in Wilson, North Carolina. And Chuck, he'll sell, I don't even know how many. 100, maybe 200 houses, maybe 250 this year. Mm-hmm. I know his commission, he'll make well over $1 million. I think he's going to make like $1.6 million, and he's got 1.5 assistants.
That's awesome.
He's got incredible net. Mm-hmm. And what he does is exactly what I just said. Every single day, he sets one and he takes one. Sets one and he takes one.
Predictable, duplicatable.
And he's always got, 10 or 15 in contract at all times, and all of his inventory sells lightning fast. But he's got, here's the funny thing. He's a little bit younger than me. He's in his late 40s, and he does not even know how to use Facebook. And when you search him, he's got a relatively lame website.
Right.
And so the moral of the story is, and his average sale price isn't that great. It's only like $180,000.
Yeah. So
this guy is basically cranking it out as a machine. Mm-hmm. And he does that consistently. He's absolutely dominant, but he's not buying any of his business. There's no gimmicks what he's doing. He's not talking to you about the latest craze on TikTok. Like I said, he didn't even know how to log into Facebook. I thought he was joking, and then he actually showed me he didn't know how to do it, which I was proud of him for frankly not knowing how to do it, because he obviously didn't need to do it. And see, that's what happens is when you learn to self-generate your business, you never actually have to be beholden to any of the gimmicks that are out there. Whatever the latest trend on internet marketing that's coming from, whatever internet lead marketing social guru that you want to tune into, all that stuff is interesting, but it's not as dependable as a skill set that you can use every single day to set a pre-qualified listing appointment. And yet, our industry is so much in more of a, rah-rah mode for all these people that are teaching agents to do passive stuff opposed to proactive stuff. I, for the life of me, do not understand why. I don't understand why.
That's because they know that agents crave the easy button.
Yeah.
That's
what.
Advantage.
Well, I suppose that's true. But ultimately, if you're a broker or an office manager or you're a team leader and you're wondering why you're having to spend more and more money to not generate any better results, the simple answer is because the digital stuff is essentially the results from it, the quality of the leads you generate is becoming worse and worse. It's not improving. And so it's like coffee, right? It used to be I could have one cup of coffee in the morning and I'd feel like buzzed. Now it takes like 3. Okay, it just does. And so that's the same thing that starts to happen. Effectiveness, things become oversaturated. So this Facebook stuff, when it started coming out like 10 years ago, you could generate some decent quality leads, and then everything changed. Algorithms changed, competition changed, everything got more saturated. So that's what happens to all these electronically generated digital type marketing passive things, is that they start out sounding great, and then usually within 6 months or less, they don't work anymore. And so then you're back trying to find the latest, newest gimmick. And that's where essentially you guys will always fail, because you've yet to learn that you have to proactively lead generate. That is a lifestyle. You can choose to live like that with the ups and downs in your income, with the uncertainty that comes from not knowing really that you can have any sort of consistency in your business. Or you can choose to have a professional approach to your business where you can say every single day, I'm going to set one pre-qualified listing appointment. In the afternoon, I'm going to go on a pre-qualified listing. Will you do it every single day? No. But will you do it more often than you're doing it now? Yes. And how much better would you feel about your business and personal life if that's what your consistency, your consistency resulted in a lot better cash flow? How much less stress would you have in your life if that were true? So these are all the thoughts that you maybe need to consider having for yourself as you enter into 2021. In the meantime, if you have not yet joined the free coaching program, like I said, in about 2 weeks, we're going to end it. So just text the word survival to 31996. Those of you who are in EXP, or actually you don't even have to be in EXP to attend our breakout session. You can attend as a guest. Please do consider attending. That starts at 10:30. Let's see. When is it? I don't even remember. Anyway, it's today.
That's 10:30 Pacific.
10:30 Pacific.
Yeah.
At 2:30, or right?
It's 12:30 Central. I don't know. It's confusing because we're 4 hours ahead of everybody. But it's 10:30 Pacific. Let me do this. 11:30 Mountain, 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern, and 2:30 for us.
2:30 for us. You sure it's 2:30 for us?
That's what you told me. Anyway, show up this afternoon and we'll be there.
I hate to be late for our own event.
I know. And you guys do not have to be EXP agents. You can come as a guest. Please do. And it's not just us. There's lots of great things going on.
Yeah, and we're doing we're interviewing 7 different people on a panel, so it'll be a lot of fun. And these are all people that had their best years ever. And the topic, our title of our little presentation at last 90 minutes is how to make 2021 your best year ever. So expect a lot of motivation, because that's really going to be the focus of the event.
And we have a lot of great guests and panelists. I think there'll be something that someone will relate on any level to all these guys.
I'm saying this not realizing that people listening right now don't realize that EXP is all 100% online. So you guys can actually...
like, where are we going?
Right. You guys can actually attend this for free online on your mobile device or on your computer. And you can actually watch it. The easiest way to do it is just go to YouTube and then go to EXP's YouTube channel. And then you can watch a live stream of all the events. It's really amazing, actually. So do that. That's your homework for today. And obviously, if you've not picked up your book, your copy of Harris Rules, please do so. In the meantime, you guys have a fantastic day. If you ever need us for anything, please remember you can text me directly at 512-758-0206, 512-758-0206. Thanks, and make it a fantastic day.
This program has been a presentation by Tim and Julie Harris, Real Estate Coaching. For more information on our real estate coaching and training programs, visit our website at timandjulieharris.com. Remember to tune in weekdays at noon for upcoming shows, and until next time, Thank you for listening to Real Estate Coaching Radio with Tim and Julie Harris.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.